All right. All right. So we had the spreadsheet up last time, and I still have it open in the interest of keeping track of the NPCs and stuff like that. Although, if you look in the journal, the journal tab, I did try to capture a few things there. Got the character sheets in. I at least had the pictures and the rough descriptions of the NPCs and whatnot in here. And I should probably get a thing up. Let me get a thing up. I also grabbed a tab in case we need it. So feel free to always just say, hey, Doyce, can you put the relationship map up real quick? I will get that up where it's more easily referenceable, assuming I can find it. There she is.
I may have problem playing right now. I'm indisposed with cat on shoulder.
Well, luckily, if you engage in hand-to-hand combat, you don't actually have to do it yourself, so that should be okay. Okay, I got a relationship map thing that I will just put up under the NPC. Well, no, put under the NPCs tab. And I did have one more thing that I realized I wanted to. Actually, I'm going to do this two different ways. Kung map. I grabbed as much stuff as I could before this all got rolling, but there were a few things I could not get together fast enough. And there is a map of Castle Kong, which I will put down under the handouts. And also, yeah. And I will also, grab it and make a thing. I'm actually going to probably move us over to this tab here since I have that capability. Give me a moment. Sucker stretched out a little bit. I think that'll work nicely. So now I'm just grabbing this. I haven't had a chance to really mentally plan this out in my head, but throw that back.
You don't have a separate number for each of the towers along
Shush.
the wall?
No, I don't. I believe this is
NPCs that are there.
I believe this is a artist rendering of a famous castle, actually. So I don't know. I can't remember, and it's for these purposes. But it's a map of a castle and it has a well in it, and that's just where I'm going. That's as far as this goes, but should be good enough. We shall say, for the sake of argument, let me just get rid of that grid because it's irritating me. Go grid. And I will say that okay. So so we had the front courtyard out here where we had like more, like some of the more like performers and the little, combat dummies and things of that nature. And from here, this little inner courtyard with the water, this was more like a procession kind of an area. It was like a party zone. And then up here, let me see, get the thing up here. This little area up here and like kind of, yeah. Actually, no, I'm going to say right here was the food court. We didn't mention the water, but I'm going to ask everybody to just, not the buzz. This is the food court. I spoke incorrectly there first. You might want to make yourself a little bit smaller than that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do.
Too small.
I managed to make myself smaller.
So yeah, food court, and then
you have control over. Okay, you go that way and see what size. No.
Yeah, you should be able to click on it and resize, and like just click on it and resize it a little bit.
No.
No,
I'm not getting anchors.
What's that?
No, we're not the GM.
Oh, really? All right. Well, let me scooch her down then.
Oh, you also need to give us control.
Oh, in the actual little token?
Yeah.
Dave's got control.
Well, I had control to drag it out.
Fiery
I can move it around.
Nameplate. Weird.
Now I'm in the water.
Weird, you can't resize it. All right. So, what was I gonna say?
And I'm named Zeman for some reason, but I will rename myself.
Oh, sorry. I dropped the wrong. I did the drop down and grabbed the wrong whatchamajigger. They say you don't have to put the pronouns in the name too. That makes it rather long. But
I am going to change it back just to Bow.
That's totally fine. What was I going to say? So yeah, buzzkill zone, and then around here in the water and stuff, and probably out into this area here. Also, food and quiet contemplate. The quieter entertainments, but still entertainments nonetheless. We'll say that the party zone that Zeman kind of buzzed people, buzzed him and Peng through, kind of led up through this gate and up into this, court. These areas up in here. So yeah, there's a lot of fun little nooks and crannies in here that I think we can certainly do something with. So yeah, good stuff here. We'll leave this here for now. Who's most right? Zeman. Mr. Five Coin. May I call you Five? Where did we leave you?
Well, I had just taken Pingland to the bar
The bar.
after everything that happened up here-ish.
I think, and I kind of want everybody sort of in the same place, so we'll put the bar kind of like right here next to this gate, like sort of.
I kind of figured, but I'm still big.
That's good. Yeah, so let me unbig you, and kind of put you like right over there, up against that wall next to
Unbiggin?
Unembiggen.
unembiggen, and we'll drop you in there like that. Put a nameplate on you. That's weird. It should have the controlled by thing, and it kind of didn't show up. Controlled by, determined by character setting. That's weird. Player missions. See and edit. Save. See if you can do anything with it now, like control
That's what I'm
wise.
doing.
Can you move yourself around?
I can move myself around, but I can't resize myself for reasons that.
Yeah.
The resizing is less important.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you move yourself? I see you move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Okay, good.
do everything.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Beautiful. We'll get people. I mean, how are you kicking your token out? How did you guys do that? What did you do?
You
just-
go
I
to
just
the
drag.
characters and you drag it out.
Nice. Well, everyone do that now. I'll get you set up on here because I imagine we'll probably do stuff with this map in the future, so it might be helpful to know where everybody's at. Since people will be skipping about, I probably won't put NPCs out there. Well, somebody resize somebody there.
I can't remember where I left myself.
Oh, there. I see somebody off to the side there. The outsider's working to be very far out, away from everything. Controlled by Bill. That's good. Silent Sun. Nameplate.
So, Dave, how did you make yourself small?
joysticks.
Well,
I'm
I'm a big, happy, smiling face.
You are. Yeah. This is to scale.
You're like all over the fun zone.
This is to.
I am all over the fun zone.
This is to scale, and no. Okay, controlled by. That's weird. The controlled by thing for some reason didn't pop up on Zemin for some weird reason. Pang. No. Skyd outer shoe. Drop in a nameplate. Put in the thing. Save the settings. Shrinkify. Pang.
Pingwan is
Nameplate.
splashing around the pool.
Frolicking. I think frolic. No? Feel free to rename to shorten things up as you see fit. Certainly. I feel like Pang and Zemin are sort of together over there. I think actually I'm gonna move you a bit, Shu, because I think you and you're kind of right on the edge of the buzzkill zone because you were leading Lady Su Ning into
Right.
like sort of further in and away from the hullabaloo and
Right.
and all that. So, which is good. Let me.
And then Sun was
Yep.
with Bow and a fire pit.
Sun had just dropped.
The sun was
his
really
little scrap of
quite
parchment
close to
into
bow.
the,
Was quite close to bow. I'll just grab this now while I'm thinking of it. So, Zemin.
Well, before
Yes.
we get to that,
Uh huh.
at the start of the session, each
Oh,
player
right,
reviews
thank you.
may revise any entanglements they to
Ah,
match changes in the story.
Thank you. Where is that thing at? Basic. Okay, it's under the hand. I put it in the handouts,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, it's the basic moves.
Yep. Start a session. Each player reviews and may revise any of their entanglements to match changes in the story. Changes may be freely made so long as they keep one romantic and one general. Each player then highlights one of their entanglements. This tells the table which they'd most like to see played out this session and offers extra XP. Players should collaborate on this choice as they see fit. I will say that since I didn't really put in a easy way to do that, I would say that in the
Yeah, you did.
in the
But yeah,
grand.
there's
put
a checkbox.
Put a check mark next to each of the entanglements.
Oh, did I?
You
Look
did?
at that.
Uh-huh.
That whole thing came together in a really frustrated fugue state. So I'm glad that it's there. God, there was so much annoyance in that whole section there that I just rawr. It was a thing, but it worked. Eventually it worked. There's Su Ning, and I'll just kind of toss her over next to
Grumpy
Margie.
Mother. Or is that?
That is the mom.
Yeah, Grumpy Mother.
Grumpy mom. Yep. She has she's beveiled and veiled. Not like in mourning or anything like that, but she does keep a veil up and sort of a head scarf thing. Not so much a wrap as it is just laying on the head, and then there's like sort of this gauzy veil over it. So you don't really, in the grand tradition of the genre, really can't get a good look at her face. It's just the suggestion of the outline and all that kind of good stuff. So that sort of thing. I will endeavor to continue to snag some character shots or NPC non-group shots here as we're going. So are people working on entanglements and marking them thusly and all that kind of good stuff?
I marked my general entanglement, which is for 5 Coin Zemin and his consorting with an enemy clan.
Ah, ooh. So a friend, but making some bad choices, or is it something more disapproving than that?
We'll come up with the specifics once I talk to Zemin.
That works.
I have something in mind. I just don't want to get into it without actually getting into it.
I gotcha. That entirely works.
And I chose the general entanglement of, since Lee has disappeared, unfortunately, promising my father Zheng that I would aid the troublemaker's son, since he's standing there right in front of me, burning a note.
It does seem to be convenient. That does seem to be the most the smart money goes on you getting an opportunity to do something about that. Certainly.
And I'm going with my romantic entanglement because I don't feel like fighting with my brother tonight.
What?
Everybody else does.
That's crazy. I mean, a number of people want to, for sure.
My brother?
Well, a few. Or he wants to fight them, I guess, more accurately.
Well, that's not a surprise.
Fair enough. So I'm dropping in some NPC images and stuff in here. So once you guys have entanglements, 5 Coin, did you tweak yours at all, or
I did.
What did you do?
I changed my romantic entanglement.
Now that was
And
aimed
that's
at
one
Lee, and I'm curious about what you did there.
Well, because Lee was kind of off, that relationship still exists. However, I have now changed it over to I'll do anything for Kung Gunlan, even get them back together with their ex.
Oh, so you've swapped it around entirely to involve different people.
Yes.
Okay. So you I like it. You had the entanglement long enough to make sure that Dave was hooked up with somebody, and then okay, good luck you two. Love you kids. Bye.
Oh no! Again, I'll still be involved in that.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I'm good with that. It's just not the entanglement, which is fine. That's good.
It's not what I care about this session.
That's fair. Does it say anything? And I don't think it does. But does it say anything like only switch one and only rewrite one entanglement, or it's pretty much just do your worst?
Basically, what I got out of it was adjust.
Yeah, as you see fit. That works for me.
Yep. Fun thing. Apparently, even when we're rewriting our entanglements, if we need to slot in a new NPC, new NPC.
Nice. And
Nice.
I am here for that content. Don't hesitate to do so. All that. I don't have the right screen open. Is it Gunlan or Gunglan with an NG?
Gunlan is what I thought it always was. Yeah. Gun. Gunlan.
Yeah.
Gunlan.
Gunlan.
Thank you. I'm just
If around Zemin, it's more like good luck.
saving some stuff. Anybody else do a rewrite that we didn't already talk about? Go with no on that.
Yep.
Okay. Just give me one more second.
I have much I can do with my current entanglements. Thank you very much.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, that's
Almost there.
I'm just gonna drop this into the thing into chat because I thought this excerpt from the book was yes, their basic take on how much should you be able to change entanglements was we don't give a fuck.
That works for me. Yeah, players must rewrite entanglements mid-session, especially if they've been a shocking revelation or death. Nice. Players can simply tell the GM table what they want to change. Players, what's that? Players. Yep. Just make sure they're in play. That works for me. I like it. Okay. Big old Aoshi there. Okay, so back to are we well settled for the beginning of for the opening move? Does everyone feel like they've got their stuff sorted?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Cool. In that case, we'll go back to 5 Coin. So Peng is there looking pensive. Some wealthy widow just went by. That's how you gauge it. Son, you've got some opinion about Zemin, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a Son, not Shu.
Sure.
Too many S's. You had an entanglement pointed at Zemin as well, didn't you? Fraternizing with the enemy, that kind of deal. Or am I getting that confused?
Sue does because she doesn't trust the influence he has on her brother.
What was I thinking of?
That was Sun.
That's what I thought. Wasn't Silent Sun didn't have something with you being pointed at the enemy?
Yep.
Or that kind of a deal?
Dan Teo.
Yeah, Dan Tiao.
Right. Okay.
Zemin has been consorting with Dan Tiao from an enemy clan.
Right. So Zemin, what are you? So you've got a drink in Peng's hand. What are you up to? What kind of hijinks are you up to?
Yep. No, I am here. I'm commiserating with Pinglan, and I am stalling for a little bit of time because I wrote some of this down.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. But yeah. Doris, I'm going to ask you this now.
Okay.
Out of story. Have we decided who or which one of the sons? Her
She
is trying to get her. Yeah.
We have not, because she hasn't decided yet. But
Okay.
that's not a thing that you know. But that's not me being cagey. She literally came into this going, I need to do this one thing, and having done that, just trailing along behind here. Having done that, once I take care of this pesky being married thing, we'll get on with the, figuring out who the best option might be.
All right. Well, yeah. In that case, Zemin is just kind of like sitting there and just explaining to Pinglan. It's just like, oh no, I know you guys have trouble. You've got history. Everybody's got history. Look, they have written the sappiest poetry I have ever heard about how their heart is broken and how all they want in the world is just to see you again. And look, they had a really, that went really well for like 5 minutes until everybody's emotions flared up. But that's fine. Now we've gotten that out of our system. Perhaps later we can, get you two back together in a room for a little bit and just, hash out some of the bad air between you two.
Penn, how are you taking this?
Well, he has gotten a chance to see me again. So, since his wish is fulfilled, I see that there is no need to continue or to see him again.
Oh, come on. You can't let that be the last time you two ever see each other. You've got history. It is,
Yes, we do have history. I'm not sure that was better than the last time I saw him.
That's not great.
Okay. How about this? Just stick around for a little bit. Enjoy tonight. Things, it's a party. It's a festival. Enjoy the festival. Just, put all that behind you for right now and just, enjoy the rest of the night. I'm not going to push you to be in the same room with Gunland. I'm not going to ask you to do anything except for enjoy yourself for one evening. At the same time, I also definitely want to pressure Pinglan to try and see Gunland again.
I see. When you pressure someone susceptible to your words, say what you're trying to get them to do. And roll. Is that hearts and minds?
That is hearts.
That's hearts and minds. When you pressure someone susceptible to your words, say what you're trying to get them to do and then roll. And then, so he's definitely keeping the pressure on. Let's see how that, so what are you rolling for this, do you think?
You know what? Yeah. This is passionate, quick-witted, and just kind of scattered all around. There's like 50 different reasons why you really need to do it. I don't care which one of them sticks, just one of them.
Creativity, speed, passion, reckless, alienating, scattered, all over the place.
Alienating.
We're going with alienating. Now, nope, you don't have a bond for this, and I don't think you can just randomly grab a bond that doesn't have boo to do with it. So,
I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, okay, let's look at it. Figure it out. Bond.
Yeah, when a player does this, they should say how the bonded connection pushes their character forward to do better.
I see. So, theoretically, you could leverage something here.
I'm gonna leverage my relationship with Two-Handed Zir.
Two-Handed Z? Your drinking buddy? G?
Yep.
Okay.
G? Is that how it is?
G. Should be like Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I am well versed with convincing people over drinks after many nights. talking to Two-Handed G.
All right. So if I understand that correctly, your bond goes down to a 0 with him. It doesn't go away. It's just currently empty.
Yep, the
I guess
value is 0.
Yeah.
So I can't spend any more with Two-Handed G.
And that gives you a +1 on your roll to get you up to a 7?
Yep.
Okay. So looking at the thing, I believe that gives you some options. Again, hearts and minds, not mind control. If they are a PC on a hit, if they may mark XP if they do as you ask. If they don't, they mark an element. And they may burn a bond to avoid this. On a 7 to 9, you have to mark an element as well if they decline. So there's a little bit to unpack there. You know, if they don't do it, they mark an element. Theoretically, I guess there's this whole situation here where Peng could say no, burn a bond to avoid marking an element, and you still end up marking an element.
Yep.
So that's one of the ways that could shake out.
They could both end up marking an element.
Yes.
That is also true.
If Lon says no, then Lon marks an element, but so does
Zemin.
Zemin.
Which reminds me of more than a few arguments where I'm trying to convince a friend to do something that they don't want to do.
And they say no, and both of you end up feeling worse.
Crappy. Yep. Gotcha.
So-
My daughter and I did that a couple nights ago, trying to decide a random, apparently very important to us, side plot point in Avengers Endgame. That was very, very important to us, so much so that we had to pause the movie and argue about it for 10 minutes, unresolved. We just marked elements. Peng, you were going to say something.
I have. Well, I'm going to say yes,
Okay.
but
Cool.
I have a move that I'm wondering.
Which one is it?
I put it into chat.
Ooh. Love it.
Given that
Ooh.
Zemin is swearing up and down that I don't need to meet Gunlan again tonight.
When someone lies or breaks a promise to you and you find out you gain a bond with them, you can spend this to have one of their plans go awry. Say what happens if you spend this bond on a roll against them.
Oh yeah, I'm
Plus one
totally
point.
lying. I'm totally lying to you. Take that bond.
Well, I mean, I think it needs to come out that you're lying.
Yeah, once
So when someone lies or, well, really more breaks a promise, but like I guarantee you, I'm not going to make you talk to Gunlan later. Blah,
once
blah.
it happens.
Yeah, that's when the triggers. But you basically got like you've got a tripwire on him in case he missteps. Is that fair? Or
Yes.
a fair description?
My duty boundness extends to people around me.
Lawless Kingdom. I like the name of that move. That's a good one. All right. So you're going along with it. I believe you mark XP.
Yeah, I did.
So Peng, I don't know, Zemin, do you find this surprising that he plays along with this? That he kind of says, very well, I'll try to enjoy
No,
myself.
Hold you to it.
I'm highly persuasive.
Everyone else takes you at face value, and so do you, which may be your greatest moral failing. I believe my own bullshit.
That sounds about right.
That's good. I like it. All right, so going along, Peng has sort of agreed to have a good time. Good deal. All right. Does that? Tell me if I am missing a step here, Mike. But it doesn't feel like you've quite hit your entanglement on that yet, or maybe you have. Do you think? Are you at interconflict level hitting your entanglement?
I don't think I've come to face with emotional turmoil.
Gotcha. I kind of agree. It feels like, because you have made a promise, and I know that you don't intend to keep the promise, but you have made a promise, and everyone here at least is practicing sincerity. It's when that promise, when you chuck that to the side and see the confirmation of poor assumptions in Peng's eyes, that probably the inner conflict comes. That's fine. Meanwhile, not so far across the courtyard, the camera sweeps over, and we see Bao once again watching that the paper curl and burn and curl in on itself and blacken, and the shadowy figure that his father pointed out, standing there, head down, as though considering options and that sort of thing. Bao, what do you do?
I rapidly walk up to the silent figure and say, "Excuse me, sir. My father said that I should assist you."
Well, I don't think that there's too many people making a scene of themselves while drunk, so I think we're doing okay. But I appreciate the offer.
Help me. What help me understand? Like, what's the misunderstanding that Sun is?
Sun is undercover as basically a bouncer at the party.
Ah, got you.
Well, clearly my father my father had some intent that I should help you.
With what?
I think the way your father would have worded it to you is that, he's come a very great distance and returned to this. What would his father say? He's come
I'm going back.
he's come a very great way, or he's come back. He's come back. He's returned to the province and will need help with whatever has brought him back, or whatever has forced him back, something like that.
Reach out to them subtly. Let them know. Let them know as soon as possible that you are here to help.
Right. Maybe it would help to let him know who your father is if you're flummoxed for anything else, or looking for that way in. I don't know.
My father is fiery perfection, Meng Zheng. I kind of look to see whether he his eyes widen or his eyes narrow, or he gets a terrified look on his face, or
he sighs. He rolls his eyes. I don't know.
I don't know. Does this still sound anything meaningful?
Well, here's the thing. And we had I leave this entirely actually up to you guys. But Zen, fiery perfection Zhang or Zen Zhang, fiery perfection Zhang, who is now the chief chef of the castle, has sworn to or ordered Bao to even forsake his lifelong quest of finding the fiery pepper thing in favor of helping out Sun. That would imply that there is something, a debt, a life debt, a regular debt.
Did you save him on the road
some
years
connection,
ago?
either back when you were part of the province or when you were both out traveling the world or whatever, but he knows you. And that was the reason that I had him spot you, is that he would know you anywhere because of this great debt that he owes you, and so much so that he's willing to pull his son off of this lifetime quest and say, help this man.
Okay.
But I leave it up to you as to what that might look like and what's most appropriate.
There are scenarios where Sun would have no idea because Zheng is doing this for reasons that aren't pertaining to Sun, but to opponents of his or people who are entangling him in their threats that he is choosing to oppose. But
yeah. With that said,
it's also altogether possible that on his wanderings, he encountered you at some point, and you saved him from bandits or something like that.
Anything like that. Or you could be part of the same. That would be interesting if you were part of the same. I was going to ask if there was somebody still back here in the province who was also part of Sun's faction. I'm not sure if the castle chef would be part of the Gallant Saber Guardians. That sounds like more of a warlike thing, or a soldier warrior type of thing.
Yeah.
But that's an option, certainly, in some way, shape, or form. I kind of leave it up to you, Bill, because although Dave pointed it at you, what he's likely to feel indebted to you for, I think, makes more sense for you to say.
Okay. So I'm going to say that his dad actually was a cook or chef for the escort company. So some background. The escort companies, their job is to provide armed guards for people escorting cargo, passengers, prisoners, anywhere that the threat of banditry is likely. They are essentially mobile mercenaries whose job it is to provide security for just anybody kind of on the road or like in town or something like that. They're essentially bodyguards for hire.
So for Silent Sun, it was a way to just keep moving, and for Zhang, it's a way to have some protection and mutual, sort of friends on the road while he's wandering the world looking for his great
celestial dragon pepper.
Yeah.
Now, so I guess
Lost shaker of salt.
I guess the question then becomes, if he's willing to have Bao throw over the quest in favor of helping you out, is this an obligation, a life debt, or did you two bond tightly as brothers on the road? Is this a friendship thing or a debt of honor kind of deal?
I think Sun would have been in junior at the time that that Bao's dad was in there, or he might know him by reputation. So I think it's more just the brotherhood of a larger organization at play. I don't think it's anything personal.
So would he have spotted some sort of very subtle mark of the brotherhood upon your garments, to mark that you're a part of this brotherhood, and
On
thus
the forearm or
I think anybody who saw Sun in town would kind of know, like if they'd watched him for an amount of time, that's just who he was presenting as.
Okay.
So yeah, that part wouldn't be particularly surprising.
So really, it's not to shift genres, but that whole thing in Leverage is like, it's obviously, ex-Spot's not. They have a very distinctive haircut. It's just, you can tell from the way they walk.
A very distinct hat.
It's very distinctive walk.
It's a very distinctive. He's clearly one of the Gallant Saber
It's a
Guardians.
very distinctive sound.
You can just tell the way you can tell the way he's standing. It's Gallant Saber Guardian. It's a very distinctive stand.
It's a very distinctive stance, yeah.
Yeah. So it isn't so much you as his time spent with the Gallant Sabers.
Yeah.
Specifically. Okay, that's fine. So he name drops, and again offers his assistance at the behest of his father.
Well, that does make things a little different. How much of the situation do you understand?
None at all.
Absolutely none.
It's a large group. They seem to be going mostly for the rice with pickled plums in it. But there are certain few that are going for the more spicy meat dishes.
Right.
Which, if nothing else, son, will tell you weren't quite sure you recognized the name, but as soon as he started talking like that, you're like, oh, you're that guy's kid.
Well, come with me because we need to find a very hot spice indeed.
Yes, Gladthrod is has father disappeared into some back courtyard?
Yeah, there's he actually seems to have vanished from. He's left things a bit on autopilot here, but things are sort of carrying on their own momentum here. Those in 1 sec, checking. Why don't you study as you take a look at the area and see how things are?
Why don't I study?
Why don't you study? Why don't you study and
move I should quick look at and say.
When you study something in order to change the game state,
whether I gain information or not.
And you could also say some things here. This gives you the opportunity to potentially say some things depending on what you're doing. So you're taking a look at the area, where everybody's at, like what the general, first of all checking your dad, but also kind of like the state of the crowd. You got in this.
So, yeah, that sounds like an awareness kind of a thing. So it sounds like a water roll, which is never a good idea for Bao, but
I think that the awareness is certainly good. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that suits as well as anything else, really. So yeah, let's have some water. I like the idea that you, who like all the spicy stuff, not a big fan of water. Though a 7 will work. So study. On a 7-9, gain 1. No, wait, yes. On a hit, you gain basic information. On a 10 plus, you also get 2. Although 7-9, you gain 1. You can spend this for one of the following. Let me talk to you about the basic information first. Basic information is most of the people, like certainly those from the village, let's say, the common folk, milling around, enjoying the food, gossiping, visiting, laughing. There's an undercurrent of it's sort of like being at a church social, like you're laughing, but you're not completely cutting loose, Yes, we're having a good time. We are also in the Lord's castle, and there's a potential for me to get so out of bounds here that I end up in stocks. So let's just keep that under wraps. It's the vitality of a good time that you're having at a business social.
Right.
Where
you need to kind of have that internal regulator because you don't want to be that story from the Christmas party. From
the Christmas party, exactly. So there's that. Those in the know, those higher up, say the head of the local guard, various lower mobility or merchants, that sort of thing, are drifting inward into the castle. They see they seem to be moving in a way that's going that they're heading inward, and that the ultimate what do I want to say
I'm sorry, who are moving?
The higher ups, the more
the inner circle.
The inner circle, and just folks who are a little bit more in the know, so more socially aware. So your merchants who really have a nose for like what the nobility are up to, that kind of thing, are all kind of drifting inward further. Like they're heading into the buzzkill zone. They're drifting out of the party zone through the food area. They're not hurrying, but they're moving at a steady flow. While the peasantry don't seem to realize that most of them don't seem to realize this. It's just it's still subtle it's just a subtle thing that seems to be going on. You can again, the options here for you for your gain
Right.
one thing is
Looking. I can ask a
um,
question. I can ask a question about a person.
or a
I can learn a
place,
person's scale, or I can reveal a detail.
which is just you actually just declaring something about all of this, one way or the other. You
Yeah,
know that.
there are castle guards that are kind of looking at Sun.
Okay. All right. What are you going to do about that? Because that seems like something that your father was, given how surreptitiously he was trying to sort of indicate the man in the first place, and how he sort of seems to be obscuring his identity. Seems like a bad thing. What do you want to do about that,
I will lean over and say, very casually, "You are being watched by the castle guard."
son?
Well, then come with me casually. And
Where are you trying to get to, son?
I am going to look for 5 coins in.
That Zemin is rarely hard to find in a social situation. I will say that. So I'm gonna loop back around to the one person who isn't in this little thing here just in a second. But before I say that, I will simply say, Zemin, you see someone approaching. They have the look of a bouncer, which immediately kind of puts you on preparing your excuses and protests mode. There's a air of familiarity though. With him is Fiery Perfection Bao, which that guy. And he's sort of in his wake. It's not like he's headed this way, leading this other person. He's sort of following this other person and heading your way. It doesn't look like you're about to be charged, like challenged to a duel. And again, sense of familiarity, but I don't know how much that interrupts your patter at the bar or anything. Although Peng, I will note that you do notice that Zemin's 5 gallons per second rate of conversation has dropped down to a mere 2.5. So whatever caused that is maybe an interesting kung fu technique
Oh,
to master.
welcome change.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sung. No, sorry, Shu. I misspoke.
Yes.
My bad. So you're heading into the quieter courtyard.
I'm heading into the buzzkill zone.
You're heading into the buzzkill zone, leading the way with Suning, and trailing quite a bit further behind than her mother would probably have expected, but catching up and resuming a decorous gait, somewhat back behind. Su Wen. You're not actually sort of making eye contact necessarily or anything. I'm not saying that, but you're aware when she gets close, and you're moving along through here, knowing that this ultimately this well courtyard in here is where you're going to want to be. And she's clearly a lady of some renown. Taking her away from the peasantry is probably going to be best indicated. It's a quieter place, more built for reflection. The trees are quite lovely this time of year, et cetera, and so forth. How are you proceeding with that? And if that's go ahead.
No, I think that's fine. There is a sort of a chamber set aside off of the courtyard here.
Certainly.
That's kind of designed for kind of visiting nobility, people of status.
I see.
That provides higher quality refreshments. Scented water to wash their hands in, whatever it is that they need. Since they just arrived, that's where I was heading for originally.
So
yeah, it's going to be like in the zone in here somewhere.
Yeah, either kind of in this thing, or you could theoretically get her even closer, but probably back behind you there in that area. I think that's, and it's if you can go in there, and then there's a lovely kind of, it looks over into this sort of like terraced garden / pond area back there. There's quite a few water features throughout the castle, which people attribute to the well and various piping when the castle was first built, cisterns and aquifers, that sort of thing. So you can look out on the far side of that and look down at this water, and it's got.
Let me just say, by the way, Joyce, that
Yes.
I love the fact that you've already established a well as a key element in the story, and you found
Yes.
the well area of the castle.
Yes.
So
That's why I picked this map. I'm like, can I see a well?
Check.
I can see him well. I don't care about the rest of the castle. It just happens to work out really well. I needed a well. And if I hadn't found a well, I would have gotten a really good map and dropped a well picture onto it, but I didn't need one.
Yep.
It's perfect. So yeah, because of that, there's quite a few water features. I'm going to say if this captures it well enough, if you recall, and I can't remember the name of it, I'm a bad Tolkien fan right now, but if you recall the hideout of the Athelian Rangers behind the waterfall with the moonlight
Yeah.
coming through it, it has that kind of energy inside of this sort of hallway area that looks down over this water because of the water down below and the sound and the light kind of coming off of that sunken area just behind there. It has that kind of reflective, watery, never quite quiet,
Contemplative.
but never quite quiet area in that area. While you're walking, Henneth Noon, thank you. While you're walking, Lady Ning is, questioning you about, the preparations for the ritual. She's never actually witnessed the ritual of the Night of Bitter Scales and how that's going. The roles of the various members of the family that they play in this. How whether this is primarily the ritual is performed by the abbot, whom she does seem familiar with, or by Kongyoshi, who she also seems to know. Does Lady Kai play any role in this as the sister-in-law, or is her role there simply as, is she a non-entity? Do the sons participate? All that sort of thing. She's asking sort of very pointed questions that seem to sort of, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's immediately apparent what her point back behind all of this is. Although
Is she trying to emphasize the importance of the family and the status, or is she trying to actually kind of determine what's coming next?
I think this seems like a study role.
Okay.
Is what I think, because you can study a person and see what their motivations are.
Well, let's do that then. Okay.
What seems to be the most appropriate element for that? Awareness, possibly? Awareness and wisdom, or...
Yeah, I'm thinking definitely, although curiosity is also in there.
Yeah. Curiosity definitely drives wanting to understand it.
But I think awareness and wisdom is more sort of,
yeah.
because I'm sort of seeing myself in that role as a member of the court.
Yeah. I think if you were really going to go, I think if you were going to go full on courtier, I'd probably say metal as sort of calculating the angles of the whole thing. But I don't think that's really it. I think you're really just trying to get at what the person is after. And I know metal's not going to be where you necessarily go to anyway, but that awareness of just...
No, I see it more as, at this point, less about the daughter and more about the mother and fulfilling, the role of greeter.
Gotcha. Okay. So awareness, just a...
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, give it a shot. Let's see what we got.
Okay. Oh! I obviously am not paying attention to the mother.
You are an assassin! I will protect the Lord from you!
When you study something...
No, not that bad.
She just seems to be fascinated with... Well, there's a reason that you're a bit of a tomboy. And that is... there's always as good as you are at this, there's a point where the whole rigmarole and all the little games that they play and how they just gossip and talk about what the family is up to. It's just exhausting. You just want to smack them with the backside of a staff. And the disappointment here is that, this is Su Wen's mother. You want to do your best here, but unfortunately, the awareness that you have, actually, I'm actually going to go with this and give you a little bit more. The awareness that you have isn't really her motivation. It's your awareness about her as your person. And I'm actually rolling a little bit with what you're saying with this, because Shu's focus isn't necessarily on the angles and what's the motivation here. You want to see, you're focusing on the mother and her as a person. And what you realize from this is not good.
Right.
You don't like her. That is the just immediate. She is gossiping. She's gossiping. She is digging for information. She clearly has some sort of ulterior motive here with all of these pointed questions that she's asking about the royal family. and honestly, she gives off a bit of an unsavory air. Not in the same way that Zemin does. She's not a ne'er-do-well. There's some malice here. There's some legitimate malice here, and you can at least give Zemin credit for that. He's not somebody who's like, how to put it? No. Zemin's useless. He's not evil. That kind of a thing. And this woman,
I think he would agree with that.
or he'd really, I mean, if he doesn't agree with it, he at least plays into it. So yeah, there's a real, there's one point where she asks about just what roles the sons play in this ritual, and from that, like, what that, what the various responsibilities and importance of these various things are. And the way that she words it, you're not quite able to put your finger on it. The way she words it just gives you a chill down your back. It is unnerving the way she is like weighing somebody like they're a sack of rice on a scale in the lower village.
Got it.
And I'm actually going to have you. I'm going to have you spike water for me because of this revelation. It gives you this kind of like, to realize that this mother of the woman that you adore is, chillingly calculating.
Amazing that she turned out the way that she did. Obviously, it is from her past lives and all the good news in her past lives.
I'm not sure that you want to actually
contemplate.
Since you stabbed one of her past lives, I'm not sure that's the angle that you want to take on attributing.
I didn't stab. I said I destroyed. There's a difference.
Oh, I see. You didn't kill her? Interesting. I didn't kill her. I destroyed her. What's the difference? Oh, there's a difference. You do mark potential, I believe. It's not 7. It's personal. It's incidental. With Su Wing, it's totally personal, and she wants you to know it. It's personal and professional and familial and ecumenical and fiduciary. It's really best that for her, those are the 5 elements.
Funny.
Peng. I'm feeling a bit more than incidental harm. Okay, so you get her in here. Refreshments and the ability to sort of clean up after the travel of the road. Scene 2, possibly a little bit green about the gills, or just a little bit pale from that interaction there. Is this the right time to make any kind of contact or have any sort of exchange with Su Wen, or no?
Oh no, not in front of her mom.
Not in front of her mom. Okay. Well, I didn't know, like a subtle thing, or
No.
definitely not in front of her mom.
No, because the opposite of water is uncertainty.
Yes.
And depression. So
yeah,
I'm not going to be approaching.
It's no fun when you're really into somebody and then you meet their family and you realize they're all horrible. That is that is off-putting. Or at least, chilling. So okay. Okay. I'm going to do just the scene here at the bar, and then I want to move along to where you guys pull things together there, and then I want to do the talk about the ritual scene there. But let's get back to the bar because I don't want to interrupt. I don't want that to not happen. So, Sun, you with Bao in tow arrive or pull up to Zemin there with Peng. How would you describe your attire? You seem very like you're put together. Not really a courtier, just
fashionable.
No, formal enough, but still noticeably martial robes, or at least, at the very least, noticeable to Sun.
Those who would get that for sure. So Sun, just really broadly, Zemin is there. He's there with somebody that he clearly thinks of as friend. His friend's attitude is a bit more long-suffering martyr than drinking.
I have now shifted to try and convince Bing that they need to start singing.
Singing?
And playing their instrument.
I mean, I believe the instrument still factors for sure. So, I believe, incidentally, James, I did mention the Legend of the Condor Warriors or something like that last week. Another person, before you get to like episode 10 or so, another person crops up fighting with fans. So a couple of examples of people using fans in martial arts, quite a bit of fun. Anyway.
Hey, they use fans in the Q Patrol.
That is a very interesting show in that it seems to jump generations without really any indication that it's about to do so, which I find interesting. But in any case, all right. So we pulled up there. Sun. That's sort of the snapshot there. Zeman is being Zeman. He's clearly got one of his friends with him who, seems to consider him to be a price to pay for
All right.
betterment.
So I'm gonna bow politely to Payne, who I don't think that I've met yet,
No.
and but I have to be respectful because he's clearly high status, and say if you'll forgive me, I wish to speak to your companion for a moment on a matter of important business.
Now, so would Zeman recognize you once you started talking? Do you think?
Oh yeah, Zeman knows who I am.
Okay. And he knows that you're probably from here, but not.
Oh, Zeman knows exactly who I am.
Okay, Zeman knows the whole shebang. All right.
Yes. So the backstory that we figured out is Zeman is the one who has been passing letters back to my clan,
Right.
establishing that I'm still alive.
Sorry, I'd forgotten that. Yes. So he's been helping establish the bona fides and keeping things looking legit throughout all this.
Right.
Okay. So Zeman, it's Sun, and he's here. Parentheses. Exclamation point. Parentheses.
You actually came to the festival. I didn't even think you would do this. It's amazing to see you.
I'm going to drag him out of earshot of everybody else.
Just kind of leaving Bao and Peng standing at the bar, like not really knowing
Staring at each other.
While
Pretty much,
Zeman is talking.
Yeah.
Bao has been like smoothing down his outfit and kind of like oh god, I've got some sauce like scraped there. As soon as he spotted Zeman.
Yeah, it's the quickly shucking the apron. Incidentally though, I will say that on that main panel for the Hearts of Wulin thing, your picture for how did it go away? It went away.
Because I changed my main picture to my icon. Sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, it goes over that picture and it just looks like such a wonderful backdrop that
Yeah. No, it was great.
I
appreciate that.
I need to get it back in here and get it back up because it was hilarious to me.
I've got a link to the original in the in my character sheet. You can go back to that. But anyway, neither here nor there. Yeah, I'll fix that later. Anyway, so you're left there, perhaps like getting yourself somewhat in order, and I picture if this were like a manga or something like that, Sun is moving Zeman off, and Zeman doesn't so much have a speech bubble as like a trail of words that are like sort of wandering through the air after him as he's, continuing to talk and being led off a bit to the side. So you guys are, as much as you're able to manage it, Sun, just generally out of earshot of people.
So it seems that Suning has a plan for working around my previous arrangement.
Oh no. What are you going to do about that?
I'm going to talk to you.
Oh. Okay.
What am I going to do about that?
All right. What's their plan?
I need you to find out.
Oh, okay. Perfectly fine. I can totally do that.
And then you realize, Zeman, that the widow, the noble widow that you saw tracking past earlier. Oh wait, that's why I recognized her. She hasn't really been on your radar very much. You would have probably recognized Su Wen if it really came up, but her mom, you probably had her at some point in time. Sun would have pointed her out relatively early as like the family that you need to bamboozle. But yeah, she's here, clearly, actually here tonight. So that's a thing.
So there's an additional consideration. My understanding is that you have perhaps been consorting with people that my clan would consider not friends.
I mean, I consort with many
He's
people.
going
I was
through
gonna
his
say-
Rolodex.
I said, you use the word consort with Zeman. You're going to have to narrow that down probably.
You have no idea how little that narrows it down.
See, out of character, I want him to be a little nervous about this. That's why I'm not saying it.
No, that's great. I love it.
I feel like he's trying to put pressure on me. So if you wanted me to roll that internal conflict, I feel like now might be that time.
I think that's great, and that's a lovely idea. Because honestly, I mean, you consort with lots of people that, I mean, pretty much anybody that you consort with, somebody is going to come back and find that to be a questionable thing.
Given how broad the term consort.
Yeah, consort sometimes can be, somewhat passive. For Zeman, often it's an active verb.
All right.
So consort, cavort. They're practically interchangeable for him.
Alright, so let's see. Mark XP and roll anything except for my style.
Yeah. So what are you feeling about this?
Reflective.
Reflective. Really? Metal.
Apparently.
Oh, you're very reflective. All
Yeah,
right.
that's not bad for a 0.
No, not at all. So let's look at that. Let's look at that info. When you come face to face with emotional turmoil pressure from an entanglement or personal issue, mark XP and roll. On a 7 to 9, you must either flee the scene or mark an element. So you're still feeling that pressure. It isn't quite a clean, unless you want to burn a bond on it to keep yourself together and be all cool and calm about it. You can mark an element to.
Nope, mark an element.
What do you mark it?
Not that element. I'm just gonna mark metal.
Okay.
Which I rolled.
Yeah, straightforward about that. You're trying to.
Yep.
And you already have watermarked?
No, I marked that accidentally instead of metal.
Oh, gotcha. All right, I'll let you uncheck it because if I do it while you're doing it, it's just gonna go right back to where it was.
Yeah. So Zemon's definitely gonna hem and haw on that one for a bit. Where he's just like, all right, I mean,
Your reflection fails you. I'm going to say to a certain extent, and you're left. Like, how long do you leave him on the hook, son, before you finally clarify who you're talking about? Because he's clearly getting more and more flustered and guessing, which gives
I don't know. I'm not going to tell him who it is. What I'm going to say is this. You have been a great assistant to me, and I am grateful. But should you betray the situation to them, I would be upset. My clan would be upset.
It's going to be 2 a.m., and Zeman is going to sit bolt upright in bed and go, "Oh, that's who."
Oh, there.
So
for the moment, you can be of great assistance to me in not worrying about this arrangement by helping me with the situation with Sue Webb.
All right, I can definitely do that.
Okay.
I will get right on that.
Very good.
So, kind of have to start, what's our timeline are we working on this one? Because I also have my friend over there, and I kind of need to make sure them and their, somebody who loves them very much, get back together.
I believe that Suning is here tonight to make an arrangement.
Got it. No time whatsoever. All right.
I don't remember if this may have been lost or whether or not you tell me whether you would mention it if you remembered it or if I'm reminding you of the thing. She's specifically here, Suning is step 1 is meeting with the abbot for some reason.
Yeah.
So if you knew that and didn't mention it, cool. If you would mention that to, yeah.
I'll mention that now. It's like she's speaking to the abbot. I don't know more information about that.
Oh, that damn abbot, always causing problems.
And
all right,
that does it. The immediacy of it is probably going to drop down just a touch because you can say with some certainty that the abbot is going to be tied up at least until after the ritual is performed. He's got things to do, and he's not going to be able to, just step aside and have a meeting with some, foreign noble woman at this point in time. He is busy through to the end of the ritual, whether, for better or worse. What'd you say, Dave?
Oh, I just said, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Because that's the sort of situation that ends up with, well, they were already in contact, and it's in the middle of the ritual that the abbot says, and so I declare the engagement of...
That's when a couple of darts come.
Evil GM mind.
Yeah, it's hard.
I guarantee you that the abbot is not going to say that during the ritual, for reasons that will be very soon revealed. All right, so
oh, good.
Kill
them all.
That doesn't fill me with comfort.
Okay, well, let's say. All right, so that's set in there, and I will just real quickly. So
Bao leans over towards Lon, the
Lon.
stranger, and says, "Have you tried the dumplings? The sauce on them is exquisite."
Are you
I'm
hungry?
afraid
Peng?
I was.
Are you
I'm
surprised
afraid
to be
I was-
hungry? Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm afraid I was waylaid on my way to the food.
This is unconscionable, Bao.
Good lord.
Someone thought it was more important to stop at the refreshments table.
I mean, this has the smell of Zeman all over it. Prioritizing drink over food.
Yes. If I recognize anyone who's got a platter that is serving food around to people versus like food stations, I will shout out their name in that talking to the kitchen help voice and call them over.
To what? I mean, it's fine. We can absolutely do that. I'm gonna look at something here real quick.
I don't know. This interaction requires.
It's probably
a lot
doesn't.
of
It
thought,
probably
but-
doesn't react. I just kind of like. I just kind of like it, and yeah, we'll leave it be. If Pengwer had been rocked by the previous thing with like some sort of with a conditioner, or I should say condition, a marked stat or something like that, this unexpected show of earnestness and kindness might be a thing. As it is, might be anyway. But that's neither here nor there.
Meanwhile, back in the buzz.
I was gonna say, no, have a good montage of you two going off to eat and enjoying yourselves. Build those bonds.
I was gonna say there's a thing here where you could, and I like this. There's a moment I remember once upon a time when I was at a ball game, which is rarely happens, and this idiot sitting right in front of my nephew was bringing to his very first ball game, kept holding up this sign, usually right when the pitches were about to happen, that apparently he expected the cameras to pick up or something like that. And about the 7th or 8th time that this happened, completely obscuring the play that my nephew was trying to watch, my father, who was nowhere in the state, stepped into my body and said, "Put the goddamn sign down!" And that thing never came up for the rest of the game. So I just envision your father, fiery perfection thing suddenly manifesting, and like 3 platters of food suddenly material.
Surely, here, this person does not have the dumplings.
Has been denied dumplings and sustenance. We have a guest. Clap, clap, and suddenly like.
Sorry, now
There's
you
this-
just
there's
sound
this-
like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, you did there a little bit.
There's this moment of silence as everybody is looking at me, at the person with the tray, at Lon, and then the people start moving and everybody goes back to their conversation.
When you go to assist a fellow PC, roll.
Oh dear.
When you go to assist, it's a terrible way of writing that, lol, but I'm going to say when you assist a fellow PC, roll on a. This is under comfort or support. Oh, he put comfort or support, fool. Comfort and support. On a hit, they may accept your words. They can clear a checked element or gain a bond with you. So this is a bond forming moment.
A bond for
I like it. And I don't need to mechanize everything, but this is just that you guys are left here to your own devices for a moment and get a chance to form a bond.
This will be a it's going to be an earth roll, kind of focused presence, maybe a little obsessive about the people getting the good food.
I like it. Caution, focus, presence. Certainly the presence.
By the way, I like the emotional associations with the attributes here for this stuff, because that works really well to justify not always going with the I'm going to do fire because that's my high number.
Yeah. Seeing it that way in the character keeper just made it. I absolutely had to figure out get it set up so that it would look. So that would carry along, because it's not the original character sheet I'm building this thing off of. Obviously a masks one. There's notes in there about like what the moves are and stuff like that. I'm like, no, this needs to be that, because that even in our first session was very indicative of like what should I be using. So I think it's just it's a good one.
No, that's a good role play thing.
Yeah, it's very helpful. And with Earth.
Oh dear.
Oh, let me just look at you real quick. You can burn your bond with Zeman.
Yeah, prove yourself a better friend than Zeman.
I need to prove myself.
That's a low bar.
Don't burn the bond. Put it on the grill.
Sear the bond.
Lightly steer the bond.
Likely smoke it and
Yeah.
bring out its
well
flavors.
marinated and brushed with a piquant sauce.
So weighing the move, just on a hit, they can accept your words. They can gain a bond with you. 10 plus wouldn't obviously come up. So yeah,
I don't want to miss on this. Actually, it makes sense that, especially since
it's Zeman's fault.
It's Zeman's fault, and Zeman is there, even though he's not paying attention. It's like the person I'm shouting at, like, is like, I have instructions from Zhang. I need to go do my thing, and I will get that extra oomph from Zeman being there to turn that into a a 7.
Yeah, you're demonstrating your worth to him. You're demonstrating your authority. You're demonstrating your, your willingness to, and to a certain extent, yes, demonstrating that you're, sort of more responsibly taking care of paying as guest than Zemin is currently, because
Yes.
plum wine
So
is fine, but
I will drop that to 0.
yep. And that just pops it up to a 7, which gives you. And I believe the way this is written is, Lan, you make the note of the bond. So you would write
Okay.
down fire perfection bow. The bond is a 1,
some
and then sort of describe it in whatever way, however he seems to have struck you as a person. You know what that bond is. Thoughtful, considerate,
Or
shouty.
if you have a checked element, you can do that too.
Yeah, which he does
Yeah.
not currently, which is what I was originally checking. But yeah, it's a great way to form up those bonds. Get those bonds smoking. Anyway, okay, and so there's that perfect moment that we see every so often where you've got somebody who's done the cooking, is trying to play it cool, but at the same time is absolutely riveted to the act of the other person eating some of their food to catch every nuance of their reaction to see if it
Right.
suits
So
them.
a series of focus shots on the mouth, on the eyes, on the eyebrows.
There's that thing where like
the tongue licking the lips.
yeah, you're like your hand is doing a half aborted motion towards the mouth, and the mouth kind of makes a very quiet biting, a very subtle like biting motion, like yes, and a bit of an inhale, and your body kind of like
No, for Bao, it looks like one of those over-the-top food animes. For
Yeah.
Lon, it just
looks like he's having a dumpling.
A dumpling.
yeah
Very nice. You're right. The sauce is quite good.
brings the dish together.
Bing, stars.
Stars.
Anyway, the pleasantries of conversation are barely 2 words in following the first, bite of the dumpling, or the second or third bite of the dumpling. You probably leave them to their, first taste. And when a bell rings, and it is a deep resonant ring,
Tolls.
yes, tolls. It is not the sound of a bell with a clapper. It's the sound of a large bell being struck from, without. And proper gong sound. It's not a gong. It's a bell, but and that is that which summons everyone to the buzzkill zone. And gathers. We're just gonna get everybody kind of moved over in this general direction. So within the buzzkill zone, people are wending their way this direction, and there's a gate here and stairs up from this courtyard up into this next courtyard. And at the gate is open, and it actually has been opened. Standing further up the steps, still visible but far enough up that they're clearly not meant to be addressing the crowd, is the Abbot Rantfutan, looking abbot-like and reserved and authoritarian, and just authoritarian is the wrong word, but just looking the part. Below him, on the bottom of the steps, one of the nuns of his temple, Sister Jeanne. Did I get the name right? Just right out of my head there all of a sudden. Yeah, Sister Jeanne. Yeah. Sister Jeanne. Who steps forward, from the lowest step, steps forward once everyone has gathered, and has sort of stayed back there and just, assumed parade rest until everyone's sort of gathered up there, and everything's died down to a low murmur. The ritual of the Night of Bitter Scales is about to begin within this courtyard. As we do every year, we must admonish all who come within these bounds that not a word is to be spoken. No sound, but the sound of the bell and those of the ritual are to be heard. Silence is requisite as a part of this ritual. Do not speak. And most of the crowd seems to know this. They seem to understand this. Like this has been going on for long enough that those who have ever been here before, which is most of the townsfolk, know that. And there's a little bit of a murmur. And those of you who might be a little bit further out in the crowd catch a few little snippets of that seems to imply that people who make noise during the ritual are removed and have a bad year until the next opportunity they have to do things correctly, as far as their time in the village and really in the province, that sort of thing. So everyone takes it very seriously, and there may be a reason there why not all of the villagers come up here every year, because there's some risk.
When you say they'll have a bad year, is that they will undergo kind of, official disapproval, or
Yes.
just things happen badly for them?
There's a little bit of that second one, but it's more the castle's
Got it.
a frown from a frown from the top of the castle walls can be seen for miles, is how the saying goes. So you don't want Aoshi to decide that your family isn't the family that people should be doing business with. That's going to be a bad year. That shouldn't be getting the best prices from the miller. That shouldn't be this. Shouldn't be that. And God help you if it's a noble or a merchant. You are going to feel that one all the way down to your socks. So yeah, that sort of thing. But it's essentially meant to be quite serious. And the sister also has things to say about the holiness of the event and that sort of thing. But that doesn't seem to have nearly as much effect as Aoshi's going to be upset with you. Basically. So with that said, then the gates are opened the rest of the way, and everyone is ushered in. Now, obviously, it's not meant to be completely silent. People are walking. There's an unavoidable amount of noise, but nobody is whispering. Nobody's murmuring to each other. Once they reach the steps, talking stops. And the few people who do seem to be trying to sneak in one more word. A serious look from Jean, or really from those around them. The facial expressions of seriously, man, zip it. Cuts that off pretty quickly. Somebody was going to say something. It sounded like somebody was going to say something. Am I incorrect?
No, we're supposed to stay quiet.
All right. So, folks, pile in. It's not everybody. Obviously, everybody who came to the castle camp, and many people don't even try to come in. Although the castle, just in general, there is noise, the sound of festival people elsewhere in the castle. Coming in over the walls and stuff like that. But it's a distant thing. It certainly seems quieter here. And those are distant sounds and really more, it doesn't impinge on the silence. It seems to almost make it deeper by contrast. So it's quite a quiet place. So the well is here. There's been candles in sort of paper lanterns and that sort of thing arranged around the space, but low. They're hung low to reflect up into the branches of the trees around the area. And their flickering gives you more of a sense of being underwater than like a flickering firelight kind of thing. It's something to do with the colors of the lanterns and stuff, because they're various shades of blues and greens and that sort of thing. So the whole courtyard seems somewhat to be underwater. Okay, there is a large bell, and the well itself is actually pretty big too. It isn't what you would think of as like a normal courtyard well. It's a good, 6 feet across, if not a bit more across. The bell is another big number. I mean, you've seen smaller tents on the road, son. It's on a bit of a ground rack, and then the whole thing sits off the ground, maybe 2 feet. And then it is struck to be wrong, but it's sitting there back there in the back. So arranged around this, we have the abbot at the well. Aoshi is at the well. Gunlin is standing to the side and somewhat behind him. Huigong is back fairly far away from everyone else and standing near the bell, actually. And he has this enormous mallet at his feet. And that doesn't exactly get a reaction from the crowd. Nobody's murmuring like, oh, but there is a shifting. There's a physical shifting. People are still keeping themselves under wraps, but for something about this seems to have put a bit of a ripple into people's attention. Okay, what that might be about, I leave as a exercise for anybody who might want to delve into that a little bit more. Anybody have any questions or any input? And I will just carry along from where that is. Very quiet. I appreciate that, but the players don't actually have to be quiet.
I'm sorry. Who did you say was?
Okay, so Aoshi's at the well.
Yeah.
Gunlin's sort of behind him. He's got something in his hands, but it's not immediately clear what that is, because again, he's kind of obscured by the abbot and Aoshi himself. And then Huigong is back by the bell, and sort of lingering in the back is Lady Kai, who doesn't seem to be part of it except to just be a noble who's back there in the back. She doesn't seem to have a job. She's just sort of there. But Huigong is back by the bell with a large mallet, and Gunlin is up the thing. If you're trying to get a read on the family or anything like that, that's probably a study. If you're trying to figure out why the crowd's reacting that way, that's probably also a study. If you're just going to let things go and figure it out afterwards, that's a whole different thing. We just wait, and I can just move along. But
Sure, I'll do a study on the family arrangement.
okay, yeah. This is probably, if I can throw a little input in here, because this is sort of technical stuff. It's probably water. It could be argued that it depends on if you're trying to, I would say that if you're trying to get a read on the general mood and emotions and that sort of thing, it's more water. If you're trying to like figure out what specifically is like what the meaning of these various placements and stuff are, it's probably metal.
I was going to argue wood because it's just like more. I don't have a direct interest in kind of the inner court politics in this way, but I am kind of curious.
This is more the politics of dinner placements, and that's why I'm pointing at the metal thing. But if it's just curiosity and trying to, that kind of thing, we can go that route. It's totally
sure.
fine.
No, I can go with the kind of the ritual placement. That makes.
And for that, I would go with the calculation, like what does this all imply? And for that, I would go with metal. What do we have? What did we get? Ooh, a 12. Look at that. Very fancy. All right, so let's take a look at. So under study, say something in order to change the game state. Basic information. The roles that are assigned in the ritual have. It's like a wedding. When you ask somebody to speak at the reception, that's different than carrying the flowers. They're both important. They can be very important to the people that are assigned to them. But they're very different roles.
Mm-hmm.
One would not have, your oldest friend dispense the flowers and have the 7-year-old give the speech. That's the basics. What's the question that you? Because you get 2 to ask questions about here. A question about the situation, or which might be something like, what is the, what's amiss here? Because the reaction from the crowd seems to be that something is off.
Yeah.
Or about the person, that, one of the particular people, etc.
I would like to. I don't know if I can phrase it in terms of what seems to be off, but if not, then
You can absolutely phrase it that way. Like what in the situation has the crowd sort of,
What is the crowd reacting to?
Yeah, what is the crowd reacting to? It's very, very simple and straightforward, and that's totally fine.
What is the crowd reacting to?
To keep that wedding analogy, Qui-Gon's been put in,
Bride's on the groom's side.
No, Gunlan's been put in charge of the flower basket, and Gunlan gets to give the speech at the wedding. Or sorry, not Gunlan. Qui-Gon gets to give the speech at the wedding. Being the one who strikes the bell to begin and end the ritual is the big job. It's the job for the eldest son. It's the job for the favored member of the ritual. Beyond Aoshi and the abbot, the next most important person is the person who begins and ends the ritual.
So the eldest son has been displaced.
Yes, the eldest son is the one, and you can a little bit of a shift to your side. You can see that what he's carrying is a bucket with a rope on it and a ladle.
And there's 2 people in the player group who know why he's been displaced.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's one person in the player group who's why he was displaced.
I sure hope you mean Zemin.
Well,
Yeah,
It's a toss-up at this point.
yeah, it's fair.
It's a toss-up, but that coin has 2 heads.
That's true. That's fair. So yeah, but yeah, the eldest son has been displaced in this, and has been relegated to the child's role, the unreliable child's role. Pull up the water, pull out the ladle of water. Even you can handle that. And Qui-Gon, you get the serious job. The beginning and the end of the ceremony that acknowledges our rule of the province. Big job.
Wow. Okay. Second question.
Yes.
Things have been feeling kind of hinky all evening with kind of people and senses of prophecy and stuff like that. Is there any sort of threat that I can see going on here? Details around arrangements, things beyond just where I've observed where the people are standing. Is there anything else about the location that indicates something dangerous?
The silence of this space was just silence, but putting your mind to it, putting your awareness to it, really just opening yourself up to the space, leaves you with the impression that the space is listening. It's waiting for a word to be spoken, or it's waiting for words to be spoken. But there's definitely a waiting stillness to it that is the waiting stillness, it strikes you, of a creature lying in ambush, a snake waiting to strike. It's not a good feeling.
No.
It's not. It's
Okay.
and I would say it is the thinnest thread. You can't imagine. You're not entirely sure even. No, I take that back. With a 12, you actually do feel that thread of menace, but it is very subtle, and you very much doubt that there are too many people here who are necessarily aware of it. But having that awareness, whether it's because of the ritual or whatever, you understand. You think, at least to a point, why silence is so emphatically demanded by those who are present, or from those who are present.
As the thread, as a cover of the thread itself, or to try to avert the threat.
Yeah, if there's a thing waiting for a spoken word, you don't want just a crowd of people here willy-nilly dropping words. That seems like a bad idea. If you're going, you know what it is? It's the because you've traveled, right? You've traveled looking for the thing.
Yeah.
You're immediately put in mind of a Sherpa who, at one point during a mountain pass traverse, late in the year, stopped and very emphatically and much above his station admonished all the members of the traveling caravan that they must proceed with utmost silence because noise would mean their death. And that waiting silence, that sense that any noise would bring down the avalanche. That's what this
Snow's nice above would be offended by their their disrespect.
That's what finally clicks for you. That's what this reminds you of. This is the silence that's demanded of people because noise could mean destruction. That's what the sense is.
Well, Hector.
So there you go. Ooh, I like that. That's a good analogy. I like that a lot. I swear to God, I got goosebumps. That's kind of cool.
Okay, so now that my BP is up, anyone else have something here?
I was going to ask if either Sun or Shu, I'm going to kind of work my way around just because there's a ritual going on. There's a whole progression. I'm just going to set this as the backdrop. So there's things that are happening. The abbot is going around. Aoshi is walking about the well, and he's striking various positions and poses. He's bowing to various directions. He's assaying the well. It seems as though he's sort of, and if you're the audience and sort of watching this happening, he's sort of miming out the events of the Night of Bitter Scales. So we see, the abbot strikes various positions, but also he's sort of miming out the prayer that, rose the well up and bound, I want to say Tianru or whatever, but, bound the spirit of the serpent armies back beneath the thing. So that's going on, and we can look around to the various sort of heroes of the story to see what's going on there. So starting out, I was going to say, we haven't done James here yet. So James, Gunlun's right there. He's in a bit of a interesting position there. Are you looking toward anyone, paying attention to anything, attempting to learn anything about the situation or anything like that, or just what do we see? If not that, I don't need to be angling at a move, but if not that, where do we see Lan's focus, or where is he pointedly not looking?
Oh, definitely not giving Gunlan more than a glance.
Okay. To his credit or not, Gunlan seems pretty far inside himself at this point in time. He's not like searching the crowd for faces he might know so he can give them a little jaunty wave,
He's been scolded enough for one evening.
Yeah. His eyes are downcast and he is ready to simply perform his roles. Jaw is tight, et cetera, and so forth. So very anything. If it's mostly just that cursory glance, and where do you simply set your gaze into the middle distance? Are you observing the ritual particularly?
I'll keep my eye on the ritual.
Okay. I leave that in there as just sort of a note. There may be some lore to extract from that later, or it may be that you can report back to your the master of your order about sort of how the whole thing went down and that sort of thing. So.
No, I'm keeping an eye on it, respectfully so, because I've probably heard the story dozens of times before.
Yeah. The only thing I'll throw out there is if you feel like putting a study into it, there's an option on the study chart to tell a person's scale. And that might be interesting to bring back to your master, like your assessment of Lord Aoshi based on his physical reenactment here. Like the thing, you can tell how good a swordsman is, by the way they hold their calligraphy brush.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I don't know if that's a sort of thing that you would necessarily immediately assess or think about, but if nothing else, simply, I'm going to pay attention to the ritual. I might need to know this later.
No, that's fair. I'll definitely be,
Well, go ahead and roll study because you are studying. I mean, really.
Yeah, the swordsman will watch people doing stuff with swords.
And to a certain extent, it is a reenactment of a battle. There is a point in which he actually, Aoshi does draw a sword and enact certain, not so much forms, but a few movements that could be considered a portion of a form, but they seem to be really prescribed by the ritual. And there's a few, sword risen to the heavens, brought down and seeming to strike the earth, but of course brought up short so as not to damage the blade, that sort of thing. So yeah.
I think Earth,
Sure.
of that focus.
Yeah. No, the focus, I like that definitely for that. So yeah, that sounds good. Caution, focus, presence, and see what we're at there. So an 8, perfectly functional and serviceable 8 on that. I think my moves must be back behind this sheet. Yeah, they are. So study. On a hit, you gain basic information, and you can ask one of those questions down below. One of them being learn a person's scale, that sort of thing, or asking about a person, or a place.
So, looking closer at scale, it's more in terms of the
Yeah.
fight, above, at, below.
Right. It's really, literally like, in this case, I would say like, the only thing you'd really be able to judge here would be Lord Aoshi and where does he fall on the scale of things. I mean, he's in his 50s, but what sort of threat would he be? As a warrior, that kind of a thing. How do you assess that sort of thing? If it's not an interest, yeah.
Is there anything different about the ritual?
Are you assuming that you've seen it before? And if so, that's fine.
Either seen it or heard the story enough times since I grew up in this region. It's a yearly occurrence.
The ritual doesn't seem to have been a variance, but it seems to be, doesn't seem as though there's been any improvisation that's happening here. That's not the energy that you're getting off of it. But you're seeing the mimed motions and the actions that seem to be performed. You're not seeing anything that looks like a prayer. And that's always been the thing. Prayed, called upon the heavens, prayed, and called the well up. You're not seeing anything like that in here. There is no dropping to the knees, lowering the head, none of that. And that's been the ostensible thing. Great and holy, ancestor called upon the gods listened, well came up, blah, blah, blah. You're not seeing anything like that in there. And I'm just going to leave that as a little factoid, nibbling at the back of your head.
All right.
I'll note, I placed these folks somewhat pointedly, Su Ning and Su Wen, kind of over here on the wall. They're away from sort of the regular folks of the province. Also easy to see. Probably Shu, you're near them. Also Sun. So if you've got anything that you have an opportunity here to sort of like take the read on really.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
What do I think the prospects are for who's going to get married to who at this point, based on?
So watching Su Ning's expression and how she's eyeing the ritual and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's probably study. I think it still feels like a study to me. I like that because it's kind of neat. They don't have as many moves, but since they go with any element, it makes them feel like almost like different moves to a certain extent. But what element do you think is probably how you're approaching this?
Water says awareness, so I'm kind of guessing that.
Yeah.
It's either water or earth.
Yeah. I've come to the, although it doesn't really matter for the NPCs, but I've come to the realization that Su Ning's highest element is metal. She's all about the calculation. But yeah, water works for me. Right. Silent. Oh, look at that 10. Look at that full hit. Beautiful.
Okay. Gain basic information. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's definitely, there's at least one point there where you're being kind of watching for it, but it's absolutely unnecessary to the ritual, and you're able to note that Su Ning and the abbot make eye contact at one point. And there's the very slightest nod of acknowledgement from the abbot I see you, I see that you're there. That's it. Nobody would ever notice that unless you were looking for it. You were looking for it, so you saw it. She's also obviously eyeing things you're able to pick up on, and certainly from the disposition of the audience and how folks are sort of reacting to things just in body motions and stuff, that something is amiss. And given the roles, piecing it together, you've never, well, if you've seen it or heard about it, it's been a while, certainly quite some time since you would have been somebody who would have been able to see this when you were younger. But you're able to probably pretty quickly piece together that the son's roles have been reversed, that sort of thing. And you can see her eyes calculatedly going over all of this stuff. You're not entirely sure that well, your questions may indicate some more about this, but she's definitely calculating the odds of like what all of these placements means, although she may not have, well, I don't know. Let's see what questions do you want to get into here?
First, what are her intentions with the new arrangement of the sons going where?
She's definitely spending a lot more time going, well, this person is clearly favored. I had not really seriously considered them, but I need to reassess that, because if he's now in favor and that's going to continue forward, then now I'm looking at him. So there's a lot of sort of assessment of Huigong and calculating the odds on that, what that's likely to mean going forward, what kind of strength that brings to the situation, that sort of thing. So definitely seeing him in a new light. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be very happy about this wrinkle, because I think probably it was pretty clearly laid out for her. Go for the eldest son, go for the pretty boy who's charismatic and popular.
So James, I want you to jump in with what you had pointed out on the forums about this.
Oh yeah, if it's what I think you're saying, even if she can get a divorce either through a mutual divorce or a worst case, if she claims that son has committed a crime, so then the state forces the divorce.
Right.
There's still going to be kind of a shame likely around it.
Yes.
So the question is, I think, more than well, who's the better option? It's also who can she, she may go for the lesser of the two brothers, because the somewhat shamefulness of a divorcee with
becomes less
possibly a criminal former husband has that stain which might prevent the marriage to the higher brother.
So question, James. How does widowing fall into that equation? A, and B, is there the Chinese legal equivalent of kind of an annulment where legally, socially, the marriage never took place for whatever reason is given?
Well, of course, first of all, fantasy.
Sure.
So, but from Qing Dynasty China, women really get the short end of the stick.
Sure.
Expected loyalty. Yeah, I know. Expected loyalty to husbands. And then if the husband is to die, if I remember correctly, she may be able to inherit some of the property. But there is dishonor involved if she is to remarry, but also there's societal pressure to remain a widow, to remain that faithful wife, even in death.
That's why a lot of times you find widows, retiring to the nunnery.
That sort of thing. Sure.
Yeah, but it's also like women can't make enough money to support themselves, really, let alone children. But also there's less of less, not evidence, but like cases of women post divorce, because as I kind of pointed out, the case of the state forcing the criminal divorcement generally is in the case of the woman being punished. There are very few crimes that a man can do that will result in him being forcibly divorced from his wife that do not also punish the wife in some way, let alone the myriad of crimes the wife can commit that will result in an annulment.
Right. And so I will say, so looping this back around to Bill, because you still have kind of a question here. I can, if you want to sort of double down on Su Ning, I think I could probably like give you the revelation of what, by process of elimination, her only good move is going to be X,
Mhm.
and have that be sort of like, like if that's what she's angling, she's clearly definitely setting up the brothers. This is not a fake. She's definitely looking at these. So how could she be managing this and then have the realization dawn on you?
I kind of want that to be something that Zeman does because I just literally finished asking.
I got you. Yeah. That's the only thing.
Instead, what I want to do is ask about the one character who hasn't interacted with the others here yet, which is Shu. Do I know about Su Wen and Shu from either direction or both directions?
I think you can
I'm leaving that up to Margie mostly.
So one of the options for study is ask a question about a person, their motivation, desires, intentions, that sort of thing. I think if you are paying any attention to Margie again.
I'm asking this question so I can decide whether or not I spend a hold on that question.
Right. Yeah. It certainly seems within bounds to me, but Margie, speak up. I think I think the question is, would Sun see it?
Oh yeah. Remember naivete? Top trait.
Oh yes.
Lean in.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask is, does Shu seem to know about Su Ning's plan here today?
No.
No. Oh no.
Okay.
I'm so glad that we're on the same page with that, Margie.
I failed that roll.
Oh, that's right. You had no clue really what was going on there, just that she was evil.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to make a move.
Okay.
Once per session, you may declare you arrive somewhere in the nick of time to aid or intervene.
Okay.
Afterwards, you may explain how you came to be there. So I think what's going to happen is that Shu is going to find this rough-hewn, dirty-looking mercenary dude kind of standing beside her.
Mm-hmm.
And in this moment of silence, as we observe the ritual going on, he's going to pass this note over to her, and in the flicker of fires and candlelight and whatever light we have.
Yeah, that watery blue firelight that isn't firelight, or watery light that isn't water.
She's going to make out characters that kind of read what the note said that came to Sun.
Yeah. Different note, obviously, since that one was consigned to the fire, but essentially that Su Ning intends to marry off her daughter to one of the Kung heirs.
Now, do I know that she was previously married?
She is technically married.
Right. Okay.
Yes, she's known to be married.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was married to this young, handsome martial artist who disappeared and
dishonored her.
Young, handsome, modest.
Yeah, and I don't know how much interaction you've had very much with Su Wen, other than obviously, but Wen won't entertain ill words spoken of her absent husband. She's definitely not. This isn't a romantic pining kind of thing, and everything would seem to indicate that she should be quite upset with him, but won't hear an ill word said, which is a bit of a confusion. Yeah, a bit of a confusion there, but and you can. There's days when it vexes you. There's days when you chalk it up to, doing your best to be loyal, and play the role that she was assigned to her, and that is a courtly honor, and
how wonderful and brave of her.
How wonderful and brave of her. And there's times when it's just like you wonder if you misread the entire bloody thing, all that sort of thing.
Yes, love is.
I like that. So actually, Margie, do you think when this is a bit of a wrinkle, do you come face to face with an emotional turmoil regarding your entanglement? Finding out that
probably yes. but she's supposed to be. Wait a minute, she's married, but she's not married.
She's married. She's not married. She's going to be married again, and this one's really going to stick because you very much doubt either one of the sons are going to just wander off and leave her to her own devices.
And they're sons of the Lord and all of that.
This seems like inner conflict to me. In which case, I'm going to say mark XP and roll anything except your style element to try to keep yourself together in the face of this. But mark XP first. Take the bitter consolation prize first.
I'm going to roll with fire for passion.
Oh! I like it. I like it.
The opposite of being reckless. Now, can I use my bond as part of that, or is it just something you're just doing the roll?
You can absolutely use it. There's no point in throwing it in ahead of time. It's a post roll addendum if you feel it necessary, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, but you can absolutely pull the bond and should it become that 8. The bond's not going to make much of a difference. So, interesting choice here. With where that leaves you with it is interconflict on a 7 to 9. You either flee the scene or mark an element. So I can see spiking fire, just blocking fire because you clamp down on your passion and hold yourself together. But my God, the melodrama of you just silently rushing out of the place.
You can see the scene, with her gaze flickering from the daughter to the mother to the sons. Yeah.
And then rushing out with the robes trailing. Oh, ooh.
Yeah, that sounds very nice and reckless.
I like it. And you don't have to mark anything for that.
Yeah, I think that basically what she would do, because she is kind of sort of a little bit in the back anyways.
Yeah, off to the side at least, certainly.
Yeah, so probably, Sun's going to hear her just gasp, and then, she's stepping back into the shadows, and out of the courtyard.
Sun, do you pursue?
Hopefully not.
Or
Hopefully not loud enough that
it counts.
Anyone can see the hairy eyeball.
Yeah. Sun, do you pursue or what do you do?
I will follow discreetly. Yes.
Okay. All right. Great.
This is one of those times where the Mrs. NEX will get along, I think. So we're good.
Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff. That spoke to both Sun and Shu. Pang's got his thing. Zemin.
Yes.
We haven't got around to you yet. So this is all going along here.
Yes.
Take all of the social implications of here as read. I don't know. Let me look at. I want to look at one thing with you. I'm only curious if what happened to them might actually cause you some. No, you don't have a.
Well, allow me.
Okay, by all means.
To follow through here, because I feel like when Shu leaves, Zemin is like takes her spot, because I wanted to get close over to where Suning is.
Suning is at. And just be ready for when the ritual wraps up and kind of stay on her tail, kind of a thing.
Oh no!
No.
Oh no! No. No. Following people is gauche. She's going to follow me.
All right. Break that down for me.
So
I have such a grin on my face right now. Tell me how this is going to go.
Well, before the ritual ends, but kind of like more intentional afterwards. But it's just like, as when the ritual ends and everybody kind of disperses and does their thing, Zemin wants, is just gonna get her attention and just kind of be like, the casual sort of like, just like, the motion, like, while we're all being silent, just sort of like, just sort of motion is like, I need to have a word with you.
The motion that says
spiritual, come hither.
Yes, the motion that says, my lady, you're going to want to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay.
Because I do have that move where...
Oh, come drink with me. Yes, as long as you interact with someone, you hold their attention. You may lead them away into or away from a nearby location. If they wish to extricate themselves, they have to mark an element or cause themselves major embarrassment. You sly dog. Man, you're like a social tank.
Yeah. Have you seen what all three of my moves do?
Oh, yeah, I know. Get anywhere and, drag anybody with you as long as it's not middle of a fight. All right, so the
consequences just roll off of me.
Yeah, the ritual wraps up with the it all seems to imply that, having achieved this and secured safety for the province, Aoshi steps forward out of the past and into himself as the guardian and protector of the province, stolid, unbreakable, unrelenting, reliable, safe. The guardian of the people. And then the bell sounds, and it is well struck.
Wait. Wait.
What? It's not the Inception bomb.
Wait for it.
Better than that. It was more of a clank.
Good long ring on it though.
It didn't pick up on the mic, unfortunately.
No.
But it was compelling, I'm sure, for 3/5 of the, well, half, I guess, half of the group. All right. So with that bell struck, people proceed to file out. Kung Ayoshi is the last one. Kung Ayoshi and the abbot proceed. This will be where they join the procession. They're joined by Huigong, who has set the mallet aside, but it's sort of left it there, but proceeds along and is just in front of his father, and near the doors is joined by his friend Ji. And also you see Lee kind of looking in the background, that kind of thing, and there's a little bit of a Z kind of inclines his head and seems to say, but he just inclines his head. He's not saying anything because, again, silence. I'll say to Bao that you do notice that Lee kind of actually gives her, ostensibly Lord, a punch on the arm, like, you sly bastard, kind of a thing. Like, they, that sort of a thing. So he's got his people around him, and he seems to be rather stoic and straightforward about the whole thing. So everyone continues to file out. Gun Lan, and after some turning around and shoving back through the crowd, Dan Tian, do not leave. Yes, sir.
Might not want to get too far.
No, I'm not. I'm just exiting people out of the courtyard. I'm just saying. So Gun Lan and Dan Tian basically head out through a back entrance out of this thing. They're not rejoining the crowd. And rather to say that Gun Lan is not joining the crowd, and eventually his, friend figures that out and heads that general direction. So that's where we're going with that. All of this evening is taking a little bit longer than I intended, but there's so much good stuff happening. I'm pretty okay with that. So Gun Lan kind of not exactly storming, but definitely leaving out through the back way, not rejoining the crowd, which is definitely not his style. And rather than saying everybody is now out of the courtyard, I'll leave things just here, because that way if Zemin, if you decide that you're going to head off after, no, you're leading. Yeah, that's right. You're leading leading Lady Ning off for a chat. I'd like to start with that chat if you're okay with that, Mike, rather than end with it, if that's okay.
No, that was what I was looking for.
Okay, good. All right. Anything else that anybody wanted to squeeze in here right toward the end as we're filing out of the area? New?
Nope.
Bao gives a great exhalation of relief that nothing horrible has, as far as he knows, happened.
You would think that if they have the beginning of the game move on the basic sheet, they would have the end of the session move on the sheet, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I believe the main thing that we're doing at the end of session is seeing which entanglements you touched on. Is that what
it's in the advancement section.
Oh, right. It is there. It's not labeled the way I would expect. So some of the moves it offers, blah, blah, blah. When you, at the end of the session, if you significantly interacted with your highlighted entanglement, mark 2 XP. If you interacted with your other entanglement, mark 1 XP. Mark XP both when you roll, and also if you fail the inner conflict, which we've been doing as we go. So really it just boils down to your entanglement. Bao. How did that shake out?
Well, I definitely interacted with Sun. I kind of got sidetracked from him after the initial interaction, but I think I had a thing with him. I've added the two.
I would honestly also say, I mean, I don't know. Call it what you will, but the thing that you did for Peng, where you were kind of like being driven and actually burned your bond with Zemin to kind of cinch the deal with Lan, counts toward that your general, or I guess it's your romantic entanglement. With Zemin, what says the group? It feels to me like that's a talking towards
right, because I was trying to prove myself to him,
exactly,
because of his disapproval of my
of you.
Thing.
You just gestured at all of me. So yeah, I'm fine with that one as well, honestly.
Okay.
Len, we still haven't done Z and Skydiver Shoe. We've been bad about that, but Gun Lan and 5 Coins Zemin, I certainly feel like you interacted with this romantic entanglement. You were,
What, by ignoring them again?
Well,
You still had to engage.
It was a fixture of your engagements and that sort of thing. So take that for what you will. I'm good with it. Not trying to be too strict about that at this point. Zemin, what do you think? This is
On
weird.
what?
Oh,
On
shoe is
on
weird.
Ping Lands or on mine?
So your entanglements.
Oh, mine. Yeah, I hit my marked one. That was it.
Okay, it's good for me. Yeah, we gotta get G. I gotta get G in the scenes because a couple people are missing out on stuff because G just hasn't factored that
Well,
prominently in here.
now that Gunman has left, Huigon can take a bit more center stage.
Exactly, and that'll pull
I'm
Z
also
in.
good. I also want to mention that Sun is going to be talking to Shu about Zemin, saying basically I asked him to go scope that out, and I think that's going to set off
Yeah, there's going to be some.
Her general entanglement, which will hopefully bring him in that way.
Yeah, that'll be great. All right, so I pined for Su Wen, but destroyed them as their lover in a past life who has also been reborn as Pen Lang. That definitely triggered Margie, so take your 2 XP for that. I love you rushing out of the courtyard. That was just delicious. And
so girly. Oh, I hate it.
And Bill, I think you managed to hit them both. And it looks like you already marked it, so good job there.
I did, yeah.
All right. Did anybody hit their 8? Or are we getting very close? I know some people are getting quite close.
I'm close.
I'm close.
6 for Sun.
I'm up to 3 now.
Yeah, Zemin's
got XP this session.
Zemin's lagging a little bit. You either need to miss more or we got to get your. I got to make some notes. I think I'm looking at your stuff and thinking that we've got lots of stuff happening here. Pretty quick. So
I need Lei to show up where Bao and Peng are hanging out and say, "Where is Zemin?" Okay, just do that.
It's like somebody just rapping on a series of bells. The interesting thing about Zemin, and he's always acting because of entanglements. They're just not his.
Yeah, but I'm saying that like dropping Lei as a bomb on those 2 characters will lead back to Zemin, and then good things will happen.
So say that again. You want what? You want Lei to come in and say?
I want Lei to show up where Bao and Peng Lan are hanging out, and just ask them where Zemin is.
That's all you need to do.
And then everything just melts down from there.
You don't have to spend 30 minutes setting up like an elaborate social situation.
Just it's great. Thing. Yeah, and there isn't
Where
a lot.
Where the hell is he?
Really, there isn't a lot of elaborate social stuff to set up here. It's just, in many cases, it's just about enough to put them in front of people, and then you guys tend to trip over that, which is great. All right, so yes, there's a couple of scenes I have in mind for next time. As we're like sort of talking, talking with various, members of the group, of the, the NPCs and that sort of thing. This is the post-ritual part of the party. Things loosen up considerably from here. Various, little assignations and meetings and conversations and stuff off in various corners and that sort of thing. So good stuff on the way. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Also, I think there may be some dual roles next time. Perhaps a good fun. Yes, sir.
Let me just say this. Social duel.
Oh, I'm there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say the word when you're looking for. In fact, Suning, right there. I'm right there for that. I am there for that content.
No, that's what I was going for.
Yeah, that's for sure. I also I like the idea of some sort of playful thing with the Royal Sons. People start to get a little bit into their cups and they decide that they're going to show off a little bit of their kung fu. That's always
and there is the contest out front, so definitely something that I was planning on participating in, maybe not as myself.
Oh, I love it. And we can
disguises always work.
I will say, disguises always work. I will say one thing. Certainly for this next bit, I am entirely fine when we're kind of not entirely fine. I think it's going to be extremely helpful if we do some pretty hard cuts and not worry necessarily about the time flow. Just I've got a scene here I'd like to see. I'm not sure when it happens during the night. It doesn't. It's probably next, but I don't know when. That's fine. Let's just cut to it so we can kind of encapsulate the evening without worrying about the interstitials a little bit. I think that'll be a great way to do some of the stuff in the evening. It certainly gets me to the stuff I want to do.
What? You have stuff you want to do? I thought it was all about us.
I mean, I'm a player. I count.
That's how I like things.
Yeah. Certainly it suits well for this kind of a thing, and it lets us get a bunch of good snapshots of the evening. It's good stuff. All right. Guys, thanks so much. I will parenthetically, you know what? I got all these duplicate recordings going, and I will I'm glad my one computer didn't crash because apparently my other one stopped recording sound at some point during the evening, which is awesome. Oh, I know what it is. Gosh darn it! I had Kaylee's account sort of listening in the
Uh,
thing, and she went AFK, lost the audio. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because my other machine didn't crash, which
because you had a backup plan.
I had a backup plan, and also I did refresh a number of drivers that seemed to be. I was having the blue screen analysis thing going on to do that seemed to have helped. Anyway,